If you aren't doing your cars, your workouts might be suffering. Check out this video to see what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm Coach Tonya with Criticalbench, and welcome. I'm doing a video today that I'm actually felt really compelled to do this one myself. I'm getting older and I'm starting to notice things. So for any of you out there kind of 40, 45, 50 and onward, not that that's old, but you start to notice that you might become hesitant in some things as our eyes, some of us now have to wear readers and some of us are wearing glasses where we never had to before. So our depth perception, try to say that 10 times, can become a little tricky. Our proprioception and balance may not be like it was in our 20s and 30s. So while you may be doing certain exercises to build strength and keep muscles strong, which is excellent, it's really important to include mobility exercises to help foster really good, healthy range of motion, to keep our joints strong, to keep muscles supple, basically to keep us moving really well and really fluid and with stability, because one of the things that as people get older and as they reach those senior years is the higher rate of falls and getting hurt, and that's something we really want to avoid. So staying flexible is great. Flexibility exercises are fantastic, but it's important to do what is called CARs, and these are controlled articular rotation exercises, and that's for improved mobility and also to help strengthen that mind-muscle connection, which becomes ever more important as we get older. You see, as we move through life, our body gets very adaptive. It gets very used to the way we move and how we move, and how we move and the way we move might not be optimal. Therefore, the body's really good at adapting to how we do things, which can often lead to things like muscle imbalances, which can eventually lead to, tremendous imbalance and a very challenged sense of proprioception. So I'm going to show you a few movements that you should be doing every single day to help strengthen that mind-muscle connection and to help keep our mobility as best optimal, just to keep it optimal. So some things you are going to need will be a good stable surface. Now I've got a really flat, thin bottom sneaker on. If I didn't have my Chucks, I would probably be doing this barefoot or sock feet just to really feel my feet on the floor, feel more grounded. So wherever you're standing, make sure your footwear isn't compromising how stable you feel on the floor. I'm going to be using a piece of poly pipe for some of these exercises just to help balance myself, because a lot of these are one-legged and one-sided exercises. If you don't have something like this, maybe you have a mop or a broom, maybe you have a chair, a table, and you can also go against a wall. It's not about holding you up, it's just about helping to secure and give you that confidence that you're balanced and safe in your environment as we move through some of these very simple but highly effective exercises. So for the first exercise, we're going to get down on the floor, and these are tibia rotations. And this really is about focusing on that knee joint, keeping a nice, again, optimal range of motion, keeping that joint healthy and strong. And if you're, including and doing strength training, resistance training exercises, you should be pretty good. I mean, if you're doing all of these things combined, you're doing your joints and your whole body a huge service in growing older, in the greatest of health. Okay, so all we're going to do is sit one foot underneath, one leg underneath, bent at the knee, and we're going to hook our arm underneath the opposite leg, just behind the knee, and all we're going to do is flex that foot. And as you're finding you're going to do it naturally. I'm going to try to talk through this, but it's just going to be like blah, 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 because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we're essentially doing a rotation from the knee, but as you move the lower part of your leg, you also want to do that foot flexion. So we're also getting that ankle joint in there too. You want to do about 5 in one direction. I think that's 3. I can't count and talk. I'll do one more to be safe. I think that's 5. Okay, now we also have to do it in the other direction. And what's really interesting, or I've probably said it if you've watched any of my other kind of balance, flexibility, mobility videos, I talk a lot about how, or I mention often how one side can feel different or feel more challenging than the other. And for me, because I have some nerve damage which affects this leg and this foot, and most days I don't have full feeling. So doing this exercise feels drastically different in this direction than this direction for some reason. Okay, so I'm sure I did more than 5. All right, whatever we do on one side, I'm going to move to the other. And just switching sides, you're probably going to notice a difference in your mobility in your hips. Now, I have quite good mobility on the one side, but now when I switch to this side, very tight. So clearly I need to be, practicing what I preach. So we're going to do the rotations again with that ankle flexion. And one more. And we're going to take it back the other way. Flex that foot, rotate at the knee, nice and slow. 3, 4, 5. Okay, that was your tibia rotations. Now the next video I have for you focuses more on neck mobility and helping to alleviate neck pain. One of the things I want to say about neck pain as someone who does have quite a bit of neck pain sitting at a computer for hours on end is that a lot of times with neck pain and we tense up, we can get like pinched nerves, and that can often affect our balance. Like any kind of muscle imbalance affects your balance. Any kind of nerve impingement or injury, anything can affect your balance. So I have 4 other exercises I want to show you in the CARS series. However, before I show you the next 4, I really want you to check out that pinned comment. That is for the neuro-balance therapy program. This is hands down one of the best programs that you can have to every day do very simple exercises to help improve your balance, to help increase your awareness in your environment. So we refer to that as our proprioception, just your ability to move safely and confidently in your environment with less pain and reducing your risk of injury. You can get it all here in this program. So check out that pinned comment, click that link and find out more about that product and how you can have it, okay? All right, so the next exercise, neck, cervical rotations or neck rotations. And this is really going to help with neck pain. Now, the great thing about neck rotations is you can do them anywhere, anytime, sitting at your desk, take a 3-minute break, do some neck rotations at a stoplight, at home. Any kids are at the park, they're playing at the park. If you're watching them, stand there and do a couple of these. This is going to help to keep that neck open and help reduce some tension that tends to build up over the day. So a lot of times when I talk about neck rotations, people just get right into it and they're like, oh, it hurts, it hurts. So here's what I'm going to show you. Just allow your head to fall to one shoulder. So one ear to one shoulder. Don't force it. Don't be pulling on it. Just allow it to fall as far as it naturally goes. Then just think of dropping your chin down towards your chest as far as it can go naturally. Bringing it around, bringing that ear to the other shoulder. Okay. Same thing. Let the head roll back. And again. Okay. Let's do a couple more of these. Our neighbors are outside chatting. You will probably find too, if you start doing these every day, that after the first 1 or 2 rotations, you're going to be able to go a little further. You're just going to feel that neck opening up, and your ability to extend that reach with your chin is going to be greater. Okay, so let's go the other direction. Now for me, I find going this way a little more difficult, but I stop and do these every day throughout the day. So after the first 1 or 2, it's a lot more fluid, a lot easier, and it feels really good. So here's 3, 4, and let's do 1 more. And 5. Okay, so that's 5 in each direction. If you found, the first time you do this, go very slow. If you find that you're starting to bring your shoulders up, stop, start again. Let that ear drop to one shoulder and just go really slow and stop and figure out like where is it that you're raising your shoulders, because that's an area of tension. And you might just want to hold the rotation in that position. So what I mean is if I drop my ear towards my shoulder and I start to go this way, and as I come forward, I start to bring my shoulders up. Well, here's an area of tension. So what I want to do is go back to the start, slowly bring that chin down, and hold it a few seconds as I work through the rotation, just to allow the muscles time to stretch. Okay? And that's one way to kind of help, become aware of where that tension is and working through it. The next car movement I have for you is scapular rotations or scapular circles. So I'm going to turn around, and what I want you to do is focus on like my scapula. Those are those larger fan-shaped kind of bones in your shoulder area, the upper back area. So you're going to hold your arms out, and all you're going to do is really got to focus, because there's going to be a natural tendency to do this with your shoulders. What I want you to do is focus on moving these bones in circles. So it's a small movement, but you're really moving them in these small circles. Now, clearly I have to move my shoulders, but if you're doing this, see how that's not really allowing these bones, or these muscles in this area to work. So really focus on doing those circles, and almost like pulling back, like you're drawing the circle this way as opposed to this way. Okay, so circle. And now the other way. Yeah, let's do 5. Okay, so those are scapular circles. One thing I wanted to mention that I haven't mentioned yet is that sometimes when we're doing small movement types of exercises, there's a tendency we start thinking so hard that we hold our breath. Don't do that. Make sure you're breathing, and you will notice if you're holding your breath, if when you're done a full set you go when you're finished, that's a really good indication you've been holding your breath. So try to be mindful not only of what you're moving and how you're moving it and being aware of the muscle tension in your body, but be aware of if you're holding your breath, how long you're holding your breath, and not holding your breath. The next car I want to show you is ankle rotations. Now, because you're going to be doing one leg at a time, one side at a time, you probably want to make sure you have something to help balance you. We're not going to be leaning on these. These are not for support. They're just for added balance and just some stability and confidence. So I'm going to be using a piece of poly because it's what I have. You might have a chair, you might have a table, you might have a wall. Again, you might have a mop or a broomstick, something that you can use, just something to help support you. So for the ankle rotations, what's really important about ankle rotations is that when you think about how we walk one foot after the other, okay? So if we have tight, sore ankles, or if we have any muscle imbalances, that can offset our gait and our walking enough that we're at a higher risk of injury or falling or tripping. Stepping up, stepping down could become an issue. So we want to make sure we're keeping those ankle joints strong and healthy. We want to support better balance and a better gait. So using whatever you have to support you, take one leg out and just do nice, slow, hear that crack? As big of ankle rotations as you can. 3, 4, and 5, and the other way. Again, you might find that you're much more stiff in one direction than the other. Okay, and the other side. Now, if you have any kind of injury, maybe you're rehabilitating from an accident or an injury, what you might want to do is this exercise particularly, you can do sitting down on the chair. And I'll actually, because this is feeling so good, I want to finish my rotations. One more. Just going to show you what I mean. If you need more balance and more support, by all means, take your chair and coming to the edge, just hold your leg out and do your rotations from a seated position. Okay, absolutely fine. We don't want anybody falling over or getting hurt. So standing or sitting, 5 in each direction, both legs. The last car I want to show you is hip rotations. Now, what I want to say about hip rotations is all of these are important, but when you think about the day and age that we live in now, a lot more of us are spending time in front of computers. We work from home, we work in offices, we work from our laptops a lot. There's a lot more sitting, and what happens is we get really tight. Our hip flexors get tight and shortened. Our hips are really tight. We become, very stiff. So what happens there is now we, can overcompensate when we are up and moving about, which can further contribute to muscle imbalances affecting how we walk, how we, step, and that just adds to the increase of risk that we are at for things like injuries, tripping, falling, which really can be unnecessary if we're taking care of our joints and keep moving them through those ranges of motion to keep our movements fluid, to keep the joint healthy, and just keep us feeling really good. So for hip rotations, again, you want something sturdy just to support you, a chair, piece of pipe, a wall, a table. I'm going to lift my outside leg, just bring the knee up, and very slowly, really focusing on bringing it out and then back and then through. Now, if you need to stop, that's fine. If not, just keep going through, out, to the side, and through. That's 2. That should feel really good. Okay. Let's switch. And again, one side might be much tighter than the other. And let's do one more. And 5. Okay, that felt pretty good, didn't it? So there are 5 very effective controlled articular rotation movements that you can do for improved mobility and to help strengthen that mind-muscle connection. These are going to help keep your joints open, keep your movements fluid, and to help correct any muscle imbalances that we all have because we do spend our lives overcompensating in certain areas. What you want to do, or what I would recommend, is if you can do these a few times throughout the day, that would be fantastic. Going through each one, taking those 5 rotations in each direction. If you can get that in 2 or 3 times a day, you're going to start to notice a big difference in how your joints feel. You're also going to notice, if you're someone younger and you're working out at the gym heavily, or maybe you're training for some kind of athletic event, you're going to notice that doing these movements daily is going to have a tremendous impact on those workouts and your overall performance. So I strongly recommend that you make this a part of your healthy living lifestyle. I'm Coach Tonya Fines at the Criticalbench compound. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click that notification bell and the subscription button so you never miss any of our great content. And before you go, for more phenomenal balance exercises and movements to help improve your wellness, check out that pinned comment below for the neuro-balance therapy program. I cannot honestly say enough about this program. I use it. I'm giving it to all of my family and my friends. It's phenomenal, and it's for all ages, and it's just such a powerful program to work through daily. So, Coach Tonya again, thank you for joining me. See you next time.